Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to my ongoing review of The Legend of Korra, Episode 9 of Season 1. If you're wondering where the Episode 8 review is, well, I was a little busy last weekend. I had to take a civil service exam, not some sort of date I can move around easily, especially just to watch a cartoon. So I missed that one. I haven't yet caught a reliable at least I haven't seen a link for it to a website that I would trust. You have to be careful with these things. A lot of nasty websites tend to advertise that they have shows on there, but I'm a little cautious when it comes to my computer getting infected with viruses, so I haven't checked them out. Hopefully I'll see something. If I catch it, I will put a review up, but hey, this is it. The end game is upon us. Although for an episode designed to set up the end game of the season finale, which is going to be parts 10 and 11, it's a little disappointing. It's more of an episode to kind of wrap up some dangling plot threads. Mainly, of course, missing episode 8, did not realize, I don't know what led up to Korra getting captured or any of that stuff, so it was a little jarring to kind of go, wait, alright, Tarlok, okay, we kind of knew he was the bad guy, that he was a bad politician. I have no idea what led to them fighting, so if anyone wants to post a quick synopsis on here of what I missed last episode, feel free to. But alas, Avatar Korra is captured by Tarlok, and of course he sets it up that the Eagleist did it. Not only that the Eagleist did it, but that he was attacked too in the process. And of course, the gang decides to get together to break them out. Now, the more important thing is we finally get to see the flashbacks. This is kind of we get to see the old crew together again. All the people that are assumed dead. I think we can assume Toph is dead at this point. We get to see them in the flashbacks. That Korra finally comes to meditate and taps into what happened back in 30 years prior. Which is nice. We get to see Sokka as a councilman in this flashback, which is kind of nice. It also at least goes to show, you don't have to, it's not just benders that are serving on the council, or at least can serve on the council. But his flashback deals what we thought would be something about the Equalist. It might still be subtly, but instead he was trying to warn Korra about Tarlok, who is the son of a bloodbender from his time. And it turns, basically he's one of those triad guys, was using bloodbending, which was one of the creepier things, and one of those things that people would always kind of point to. It's like, well, if you can bend water, why can't you bend the blood in people's bodies that are made out of water? And to its credit, Avatar addressed that. They have what they call bloodbending, but of course they made up the idea that a person's chi, you need to override it, so you need the full power of the moon. Apparently not with this guy's case. He's some sort of extraordinary bloodbender. And too bad there's not a Halloween. This isn't like the show doesn't go on during Halloween, because it is kind of a Halloween episode. But it's pretty frightening. They do some really good animation when they're showing people being bloodmen. You're almost kind of expecting to go into like more of the hardcore Akira style anime, where you're expecting their bodies just to burst any second. So really, kudos to the animators on this one. They really brought that tension to the forefront. But to get back into the flashback, we have the bloodbender. He decides, he eventually gets convicted, where the court or the council goes, we've heard enough evidence. We're gonna say you're a bloodbender. You go to jail for life. And of course the dude bloodbends the entire courtroom to escape. Aang goes out and chases him, and eventually, I guess he uses the Avatar state, which shows he can override the bloodbending. And we see for the second time, Aang takes somebody's bending away. This time, though, it makes us wonder, is Amon truly... They do give some hints maybe with Amon here in that flashback. One, when we saw Aang take away the Phoenix King's bending abilities, they had this huge energy bending, in the background this huge bright light, all this crazy stuff going on. Clearly now that's not what actually happens, at least to the visual a normal person's visual, when you take somebody's bending away. Because when Aang takes his bending away, it's much like he does with Amon. He does a little thing, he puts his finger on there, sucks out the energy, but there's no lights, there's no crazy stuff going on. So it does kind of indicate that Amon might be truly just an energy bender. That is his ability. Though I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff because, alright, Aang has, or at least a lot of debate, because after, we see Aang's flashback, Korra kind of realizes, oh, you were warning me about Tarlok this entire time. Great job, Aang. You might want to Tarlok problem, yes, but he's a B problem. I think the rising revolution that's about to oversweep the city, that might be a little bit more important. You might want to give her some more details. So then again, she might, that might be a clue that maybe Korra's gonna have to counter energy bend Amon. That would be kind of interesting. No, you want to be equal? Okay, I take away your energy bending ability. If that's what it is the case, and Amon's not some sort of spirit, because, okay, lo and behold, somehow, even though no one else knows that Tarlok's in this location, the Equalists do show up. And Tarlok's like, you're not used to fighting me, you little chi blockers. And he blood bends, basically, all the chi blockers who go down, except for Amon, who just basically stands there. Which is, again, they do a great job of making this villain absolutely terrifying. This is a great way to build up a villain. You have this... You're not sure if he just purely wills his way through this, because he looks like he walks with some effort as they're trying to blood bend, which would indicate that he is a human. He's just a human that can take an insane amount of endurance. They can just override the blood bending. Something not even Avatar Korra could do. Something not even Avatar Aang could do when he was a fully realized Avatar. Something no one's been able to do before. At least not without, counter blood bending. Which I was expecting Korra to do, like Korra to learn how to blood bend. So they took it in a different direction. But he kind of just muscles his way through this and takes Tarlok's power and throws him in his cage. We see a bit of Korra start to use her head a little bit more, which is very fun. They have this nice little scene where they set up that they're going to take Avatar Korra captured as well, and of course they go, electrocute the cage. Don't overestimate her. She's in this little cage box, so they go that they can't see into. So they go electrocute her and take her, her unconscious corpse out, or body, or her unconscious whatever out. So they play smart. It's nice to see villains that play smart, but then the heroes also do, go one step beyond. Korra figures out real quick, I got a band on me that's insulation, so she wraps it some part of the cage. She can hold herself up so she's not touching any part of the metal. Zaps it and plays unconscious when they open the door. That's how she escapes. She kicks some ass, and they have a brief little confrontation. But you can still see when she has a quick little confrontation with Amon. But you can see she's still scared shitless to actually fight him. She does not want to actually have to fight this guy. And basically runs away. She throws a few icicles at him. He avoids them, starts running at her, and she's like, I'm going to leave. Runs down a mountain. Or skis down a mountain, I guess. Hey, exciting, interesting. It is nice that they also, though, resolved a bit on the... They also resolved those missing metal bender cops, where it's, lo and behold, they of course assume the Equalists took Korra, so the gang, which is basically every other character in the series, finally figures out, and they do I like how they're tying everything together from earlier episodes. They kind of trace when Mako was captured, the path that he took, and there must be underground tunnels. They find this underground network of tunnels. They find a prison where, of course, the metal bending cops have been taken. Fortunately, their bending abilities have been taken. I don't know why they're still being held captive then. I guess so they don't reveal the network underneath the city. Anyway, they find them. They resolve that entire plot line. So I guess Again, this is kind of wrapping up all the loose plot threads, even though this isn't a very, it's a one season thus far, so there isn't a whole lot of loose plot threads, especially considering this whole thing was originally designed as a miniseries, which to me does take away a little bit of the tension with the next season, because you're wondering with this battle with Amon, if this was just a miniseries, I could easily go, Korra might actually lose her bending abilities. She might actually wind up having to sacrifice these during her fight with Amon, and I could see them pulling something like where she loses her bending abilities, but then she decides to fight Amon without them, and then wins. That would have been. Who knows? They might still do that, and then the next season is picked up with her trying to regain her bending abilities. They might still do it. I don't know. Speaking of the season finale, we got a preview of that where they're pulling some Pearl Harbor imagery out there. Apparently, the Equalists have got planes, they have fighter jets, and they're bombing battleships and stuff. I guess are we going to finally see a full-fledged military confrontation here? It'll be interesting. Don't want to speculate too much because we only got 1 week to go to see how this all turns out. But we certainly see, of course, Amon and Korra is going to have a battle, and it looks like Amon at one point is going to try to take her energy bending, or going to try to take her bending away. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Does he, like I said, are they going to play it where he actually does take her bending abilities, but then she fights him without and beats him without her abilities? Or does she pull like a counter, like they connect her like avatar state spirit override his abilities when he tries to do it? And do we actually see the man behind the mask? I hope not. I want them to actually keep. It's sometimes better to keep stuff mysterious, and I hope that's what they do with him. And don't reveal his face. You can kind of kill them off without kind of maybe she knocks him into a pit of lava, and we never really know who was the man behind the mask. That'd be kind of cool to see, or cool to do. Well, I'm starting to blabber, and I want to keep this review somewhat short, so signing off. Expect a much longer review for the season finale next week. Again, if I can catch episode 8 sometime during the week, you might see that post up. So these might be slightly out of order. Hasta luego.